As soon as the news broke of the horrors in Israel on October 7th, students at America's top universities and beyond were rushing to defend the perpetrators, and it's only gotten worse. Around the world, anti-Semites are harassing students, staging protests, vandalizing Jewish homes and businesses, destroying posters of the Israeli hostages, and crafting insane justifications that blame the Jewish victims. For many Jews who are often on the front lines fighting for social change, they feel abandoned. It's like they don't count. But if you look at Jewish history, you shouldn't be surprised. From Aish, this is Do You Know It? And today, we're talking about anti-Semitism. First, a little history. Back in the late 1800s, German race theorist Wilhelm Marr coined the term anti-Semitism. Marr believed that Jews as a racial group, i.e. Semites, using a term he borrowed from linguistics. Marr believed that Jews were diluting pure German culture and made up the term as a way of stressing the Jews' racial inferiority. But the term stuck, and today, anti-Semitism is used universally to describe hatred and bigotry against Jews. Anti-Semitism is unlike any other form of hatred throughout history. Let's break down why. Universality. No matter where the Jews have been, Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, they've always faced hatred. Longevity. Anti-Semitism has been around for thousands of years, but it really kicked into high gear with the rise of Christianity and Islam. Intensity. Discrimination against Jews often turns real ugly real fast. It can escalate into false accusations, mass expulsions, violent mobs, murders, and even genocide. Irrationality. Everything and its opposites is a reason for hating Jews. In communist countries, Jews were hated for being capitalists, but in capitalist nations, they were accused of being communists. When Jews lived in ghettos, they were called clannish, but when they assimilated, they were accused of infiltrating and corrupting the dominant culture. Jews are too white to count as an oppressed minority, but not white enough to mollify white supremacists. Basically, no matter what, someone somewhere comes up with a reason to hate Jews. Why is there anti-Semitism? Anti-Semitism is old, and many thoughtful people have tried to explain it. The most common reasons are Jews are rich, powerful, and influential given their numbers. Jews claim to be the chosen people. Jews killed Jesus. Jews are outsiders and different from everyone else. Jews are an inferior race. Jews are easy scapegoats. And while some of these reasons may describe a particular anti-Semite's motivation, none of them really explain anti-Semitism, especially since anti-Semitism happens at times and in places where these reasons don't make a whole lot of sense. For example, Jews living in Russia's Pale of Settlement were poor and weak, but they were still hated. The Jews of 19th century Germany renounced their status as a chosen people, but they were still hated. Even when the Jews assimilated and did their best to shed their Jewish identity, you guessed it, they were still hated. So no matter where you look in history, anti-Semitism is always there. And with the explanations always changing and evolving, it's hard not to think they're just excuses. According to Jewish tradition, Jew hatred started with Mount Sinai, which marks the birth of the Jewish people. The secret is in the name Sinai, which sounds similar to Sina, the Hebrew word for hatred. At Mount Sinai, the Jewish people received the Ten Commandments and embraced the tenets of ethical monotheism. Concepts like the dignity of the individual, the brotherhood of man, equality and justice, and many other ideals that nowadays most people hold to be self-evident. Anti-Semitism is a rejection of those values. Anti-Semitism is attacking the messenger who brought the values and morals of the Ten Commandments into the world. Yet, those same values are also the solution to anti-Semitism. Jewish ideas still need to be embraced and taught. That's also the unique mission of the Jewish people, to know those values and to teach them. So, in a surprising way, Judaism teaches that anti-Semitism is a reminder to the Jews of what they stand for: morality and conscience. The answer to anti-Semitism is to embrace and live with these values as best we can. From Aish, this has been Do You Know It? A series where we tackle questions big and small about Judaism, even the ones you're too afraid to ask. Hit that like and subscribe button to follow along, and drop a comment with what topics you want us to cover next.